So, okay. Well.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm going to make it.
It is Frightday. This is episode 14. I'm your host, Byron, and tonight we're going to be reviewing a movie called Final Prayer, also known as The Borderlands, and we're going to be talking about some UFO stuff. I'm here tonight with Kelly.
Hi there.
And Sam.
Hey.
Kelly, what's this UFO business about?
So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on.
Just give us a quick tease, because I know this is important to you today.
Yeah, there is a lot coming together regarding
Blink
the
182.
UFO, Blink 182, Podesta, the Obama administration, the Clinton administration, and the initiative to disclose UFO information to the public.
So you have that to look forward to later in the show.
Right.
Sam?
Yes.
How was your week?
My week was fine. My ass still hurts from my little tumble down the stairs a few weeks back, so I am podcasting from the standing position.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward for me, I gotta say. I know I'm always shorter than you, but I'm especially short right now.
I feel like I'm walking the floor of my sweatshop, like inspecting the workers.
Yeah, it reminds me of that movie Beautiful. Do you remember? Did you see that?
No,
with
I
Javier?
didn't. I'm familiar with the movie.
That one was really long.
Was it? It's foreign and
It
long?
felt like it was long.
Stacking all those odds
Yeah.
against it.
Oof.
I've heard it's good. Sam, did you watch anything good?
I watched... Yes.
Okay, good. We're there.
I watched a movie called Grizzly from 1976.
Grizzly Man.
Yes, yeah,
No, not
exactly.
Grizzly Man.
No, that not that comedy. It was
That wasn't a
that's
comedy,
dark.
you dick.
that was that jackass that got himself eaten by bears, right?
Sam, people can't think you're sociopathic. You need to at least pretend.
I'm sorry. I appreciate that there are consequences for some dumb actions.
Kelly, you have to admit, anytime Werner Herzog talks, it's vaguely humorous.
No, he's good. I think
He's great. His presentation's pretty incredible.
Well,
And then the guy
anyhow, on with your jackass story.
Oh, no. So Grizzly, 1976, evidently was the highest grossing independent movie of that year. I was based loosely on the multiple grizzly bear attacks in Glacier National Park right around that time.
Just north of us.
It is.
Did they have indie movies back then, though?
Well, I just go by what the internet says, Byron. Fuck, I don't know.
Just reading the facts. You don't know anything about 1976's domestic gross profits versus indie.
Sherman, let's hop into the Wayback Machine and find out about indie films in 1976.
Away, let's do it.
Yeah, no, it was. I don't know. I mean, I try to weigh things against the standard of the times, and I think for 1976 it was bad.
Yes, there's a
And
lot
I
of
think
good
for
stuff
now
in
it's
76.
real bad. I guess closest take on it was like it was a boring land Jaws.
Well, I mean, Jaws, great movie, but it's
a little slow.
Debatably slow. Yeah. So
Yeah.
What?
it's there's not a lot of action until the end, you know.
You see a lot of the paw, which is just so clearly just a man hand.
Really?
In a
They manhandled
fuzzy
you.
paw, and it's like screaming at the campsite in a bikini, and then
Wait,
the paw comes.
First person paw.
No, it's third person. First person would be interesting.
Yeah,
no,
it would, for the
you just
times.
see from the outside the shot. There's just a big reaching bad paw, and that's like what you see of the bear. And it's just one. I think it's the left one every time. So it's like that's all the suit that they made was one bear arm.
But honestly, the bear could be left-handed.
He very well could have been. I never thought about that, Byron.
Well, start thinking.
Shit.
Did Kelly watch this?
No.
Okay.
We watched a movie called Come Back to Me, which has been in my Netflix queue for a while. It wasn't stellar, but I thought it was really interesting. Essentially, the story, it starts out with this really horrific scene of a teenage kid who is living in a meth house, and some really trashy stepdad / mother's boyfriend something is cooking meth and beating the shit out of his mom and kills her. and it shows him going around the corner into the room that his mother's been killed in, and then all of a sudden her feet start moving and she's alive again. So that's all you see, and then it goes to present day, and so the kid's like 25, and it's this like super nice suburban neighborhood, and this couple that's trying to have a baby, and they start having these really weird interactions with this kid, and things kind of escalate. I thought it was neat, and then I thought the ending in particular was kind of cool. So I was thinking about this actually when that movie wrapped, that my former philosophy on horror movies, I think I have to actually formally adjust, because I used to feel like horror movies had the worst endings of any genre. And at this point, like 80% of the horror movies I've seen in the last 6 months, even if they aren't that great, have pretty damn good endings.
The thing about horror films is either they have an awful ending and a decent beginning, or the ending makes the movie.
Right.
In this case, was it decent throughout?
I thought it was decent throughout, and then I thought the end was really cool. Sam didn't love it as much, but that's no surprise.
You didn't like the end or the movie?
Yeah.
What do you, okay.
He liked the end. He sat there next to me and said, "Oh, that's really cool."
The end, actually, Kelly's right. There was a neat twist that I thought salvaged what was left of the movie.
Salvaged what was left? Anyhow, we also watched, I don't know if this really counts, but we watched most of 2 seasons of the reboot of Scooby-Doo, which they're
I'm scared. I don't
horror
know.
mysteries.
Are they horror mysteries?
Well, I mean, they're always ghosts.
It's not called the Horror Mystery Machine. It's called the Mystery Machine.
I mean, but they're ghosts.
Nobody ever actually gets
And
chopped up
aliens.
into pieces, put in a suitcase, and pitched off a bridge in Scooby-Doo.
I don't know. I feel like it counts.
Okay, for the sake of we'll count it. How
Okay.
was it?
It's actually really funny, and if you knew the old series or watched the old series, they have tons of inside jokes really poking fun at themselves. And it's one of those that's going to be on like the super approved list for our daughter as she gets older, because mom
It's
and dad
really
could
starter
handle watching
horror.
it. Yeah, it is starter horror.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is in it?
Matthew Lillard.
Shaggy?
So Matthew Lillard, yeah, he's got
Plays
horror roots.
He does. So he plays Shaggy, not just in the horrible live action versions, but also in this awesome cartoon reboot.
I honestly heard that they weren't that bad.
They were pretty bad.
Were they?
They're pretty bad.
Who directed those? It was like a decent director.
It was, but I can't remember who it was.
I'll dig it up.
It might
Keep
be because
talking.
Freddie Prinze and Sarah Michelle Gellar are 2 of my least favorite
You don't
actors.
like Freddie Prinze
Was it
Jr.?
Lars? Was it Lars
Never
von
did.
Trier?
I think
I
it
thought
was
it
Lars.
was Von Trier. I'm pretty sure Charlotte Gainsbourg was in there somewhere too.
She was. She was in the reboot.
She's somewhere in there. So
Where Scooby has to watch
it has
Shaggy die
Vivica-
and then eats his...
Vivica Fox.
Vivica Fox and Lewis Black and
George Takei.
George Takei. So it's got a fun cast, and it's pretty witty and pretty fun. It's
Oh, that's what it was. I'm sorry to interrupt. James Gunn wrote the screenplay.
right.
The guy who did Slither, right?
And,
And Guardians of the
of the
Galaxy.
Galaxy. Yeah. Wow.
He used to work at Troma. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
He wrote and directed Tromeo and Juliet, I believe.
That is...
So James Gunn, yeah, he did a bunch of stuff. He also ghost wrote, what's the guy from Troma's name? Lloyd Kaufman's book?
yeah.
Yeah, he did one of Lloyd Kaufman's books. Big horror guy.
That makes me like him even more.
Maybe I need to go back and watch this. Like I said, it could have been just spoiled by the fact that I really don't like Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze, but
Did you not watch Buffy as a kid?
hated
Insane.
and hate Buffy.
You're crazy.
I feel like we covered this in depth.
What about you, Byron? What did you watch?
Guys, not a big week for me. I rewatched the movie Funny Games with some friends that came to town.
Stellar.
Which version?
The U.S. remake.
Nice.
Weren't they same director and same script?
They're
Michael
really
Pitt.
close, but Michael Pitt's awesome, so it's worth.
I love that movie. I forgot how good it was and also how dark
So
it
tense.
was. It's weird. I had 2 house guests for a couple days, and I didn't really know how to gauge what their acceptable level of horror was.
So you slapped on Martyrs and
Well, this isn't too far
they
off.
were
Like
scheduled
psychologically.
for a 1 week
Oh my
stay.
gosh, it's so much more logical than Martyrs.
Yeah, come on. Psychologically, though, Funny Games, it is the most claustrophobic movie I've seen in so long.
What about the one we watched tonight?
Even more so. No, this is mentally claustrophobic. The main characters,
Yeah.
Michael Pitt and I don't know the other guy's name, the way they act, it's like they're acting inside of their character, so you have no idea what they're thinking at any point, and they're playing like they're doing nothing wrong, and it just makes the whole movie like go around.
Dead-eyed drones.
It's insane. It's such a good movie, and I put it on my top 10 list. Didn't we do top 10?
Yeah.
Top 30 of horror of October. You can look back. I don't think it's on the
I
news
think it was
site.
on mine, too.
It's going to be interesting to see how mine changes next year. I was thinking about that.
You were going to update it? You're going to change it?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to update mine for sure. I am a constantly evolving human, Byron.
I'm working my way back down to amphibian that crawled out of the muck.
I also
You're getting
watched,
close.
I also watched one other movie that was not horror, but I think needs to be mentioned. John Wick.
Okay, is
Was
that
it as
good?
great as everyone says?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so cool. I think they said 87 kills in this movie. Most of them are headshots.
I like it.
Directed and written by Keanu Reeves' stunt coordinator from The Matrix. So it's pretty much just surrounded by action. It's so fun.
I wanna see it.
I wanted
I
to see that one
genuinely
since it
wanna
was
see
in
it.
theaters and we missed it.
It's a popcorn flick. I didn't think I wanted to watch this movie, and then it was on, and I wanted 3 sequels. Honestly, this is
That's
a fun
awesome.
movie.
That's awesome.
But that's all I watched this week.
That's okay. That's okay. Website was pretty huge.
Yeah, a bunch of major changes at Frightday.com. Full facelift. We have actual content going up steadily.
Pretty regular content. And now we all have real, authentic, official emails. You guys can email us questions or comments or anything.
Pictures.
Pictures.
I don't know why.
To Byron.
No pictures.
I don't know why.
Byron wants
pictures.
pictures,
No
everybody.
Pictures. I was kidding around.
Kelly doesn't really care,
So-
but
Send dick pics to Byron.
No, guys.
Or shots of your cats or dinner.
Oh,
Whatever.
that's enough.
my email is Kelly at Frightday. Sam's is Sam
I
at
don't have
Frightday.
one.
You do too.
You do,
And
yeah.
Byron's is Byron at Frightday.
And overall, everyone can send whatever they want to contact at Frightday.com if it doesn't need to go directly to any of us.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, we're really excited, guys. You should definitely check out the new website. And, we really appreciate all of you listening. And any of you guys that feel so inclined, if you can tell your friends about us,
Yeah.
that'd be so gosh darn nice of you.
I like that.
Yeah.
Things happened. Let's talk about it. News.
News. You know what's happening.
You know what's going on.
I didn't. I was kind of a cliffhanger.
Genji Cohen. Do you know her?
No.
She's the creator of Weeds and Orange is the New Black. No? Do you watch those shows?
I like Orange is the New Black. I've never seen Weeds. It sounds really good, but you're crowding my queue with way too many horror movies, so I can't get to things like Weeds. I'm sorry.
It looks like Genji is going to be working on a new show for HBO called New World, which is described as a proactive period drama that explores the circumstances around one of the most compelling chapters in American history, where intolerance and repression set neighbor against neighbor and led a town to mass hysteria.
Ooh.
Do you know what this could be talking about?
No.
We're talking about Salem.
Oh, I was thinking it was like, the Ferguson sitch, maybe.
Yeah, but no, we're talking about Salem again. This is another show about Salem.
I mean,
Oh, Salem, Massachusetts.
You know, Salem.
Okay.
What'd you think? The cat
I was
from...
hoping to be Salem, Oregon.
Oh,
Sam really likes Oregon. Any of you out there in Oregon, Sam's a big Oregon fan.
Mostly I'm just sick of Salem.
you don't like Salem, Massachusetts?
I like
It's
Salem,
just been
Massachusetts.
done to death.
It has been done.
I have
to
a
death.
really awesome hide and seek shirt with Salem witches on it.
That's true. You can go get that at hideandseekclothing.com.
How'd you like
Remember that time that
That's
you
a good
almost
plug.
got
Solid plug. Yeah.
murdered?
I did almost.
Salem?
Yeah, I almost got murdered by not real witches, probably just van witches.
Yeah.
Witches that drive around in vans.
But they were probably tweakers too, which makes them a little scary. They probably had box cutters.
Well, maybe next year I'll spend October in Salem and I'll give it a second go and see if I can get it done.
Sweet.
They don't have any details about this. Casting is currently underway, and they have a pilot slated to be recorded in Boston, Massachusetts. We'll see. I trust Genji. I really liked. Did you watch Orange is the New Black at all?
Yeah, we watched the first season. I shouldn't say. Sam made it like halfway through. I watched the first season.
Kind of bored me to tears.
Sam would come in and out, and he'd actually like it when he watched it, but he didn't like it enough to like keep coming back. It's really hard to keep his attention.
Well, how do you feel about Gus Van Sant?
good. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Oh, elephant.
He's going to be directing. So
So it'll probably be...
good combo. What else did he do? Did he do Antichrist?
No, that was
Lars von
von
Trier.
Trier.
Trier. I get those triple names mixed up.
Yeah,
Lars von
one
Trier.
name, guys. One
Gus
name.
Van Sant.
Yeah, I think it's the Vaughn and the Van that does it to you.
Maybe throwing
I
that
think
in the
it could be.
middle. If I throw a Van in the middle of my name, do I get equalized with them?
But then you have like an
Maybe.
extra prefix. You're like Byron Van McKoy.
Yeah, that's
So, American Horror Story Season 5 has been announced. Actually, it was announced a while ago, but the premiere date is now out. And
is it next year?
yeah, so what's really interesting is the article doesn't, it says that the premiere date has been announced, but the article doesn't mention the date anywhere.
Weird. I would imagine
It just says
same time.
American
next year.
Horror Story Season 5 will air later in the year.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. So we
But
have a date.
literally, the headline for the article is American Horror Story Season 5 release date.
I mean, 2016 is a date.
15.
yeah,
15.
Absolutely.
Oh, are we
It's
in
15.
2015
Ron,
currently?
don't
I mean-
jump the gun.
And if we ever
Wait,
get
is
to
this year 2015?
Yes.
Oh my-
Are you serious right
a
now?
little bit, but let's just ignore that.
if we ever get
That's
to
terrifying.
a point where people give us information like release dates, I think that's what we should do.
Okay. So the big clue that was released, there was in one of the later episodes of the, oh my gosh, the Freaks season that just ended.
Freak show?
Freak Show.
Is that right? I don't think it's
In
called
one of the
Freak
later episode of Freak Show, season 4 of American Horror Story, there was a mug with a top hat on it that was really heavily focused on. And show creator Ryan Murphy admitted that that was a big clue about what season 5 will be about. And he said it's an arcane clue, but it's very purposeful and it illuminates something that you'll be like, oh, you dirty bastard.
That's his quote.
So it's either magicians
Yeah,
or
his
Jack
quote.
the Ripper.
Oh, you dirty bastard.
Is that
So-
what you're getting out of research, or is it 'cause
No, I think, you know what I
No,
think
I'm-
it is?
No.
Abraham Lincoln?
I think it is. It
Right?
could be aliens.
Oh, okay.
I think it very well could be aliens because there's an alien story about Operation Top Hat.
That makes sense.
So it could be aliens. I think that it could be magicians, like Sam suggested, which would be kind of cool.
No,
about-
it wouldn't.
I think it'd be kind of cool.
What about Honest Abe? What are my chances?
I mean, what, like zombie killer?
Yeah, the Abraham Lincoln No, probably not. I guess I was probably off on that.
Could be vampire killer. Could be. I don't really know. But really, at the end of the day, in my opinion, the last couple seasons haven't been as good as the first couple.
Asylum is the peak.
I feel like Asylum was really, really good. I liked the first year too. I would say the first 2 years were my favorites.
The
but
first year was too sexy.
it was a little sexy.
It felt
but-
like Nip Tuck, which I mean was a show
Yeah,
that
that makes
Ryan did,
sense.
but
right. It was, but I thought that the haunted house stuff gets me,
Okay.
obviously. But I'm not giving up on it. I'm excited for the next season, and I think Ryan Murphy talks a lot about how all the seasons are intertwined somehow, and he said that starts to become more and more apparent, that we don't realize yet how they're all connected, but that will become apparent at some point.
I'd love to see how they pull Coven into that. It being
Yeah.
like the only modern, well, not even the only modern one, because the first
The
season
first season was
as
modern.
well.
Yep.
Interesting,
Yep.
Ryan.
So, yay. Even though we don't have an official date, it's happening later this year. Yay.
Yay.
Hey, this year is one of my favorite times for things to happen.
You live in the now.
Or the,
sure
or
does.
the immediate future.
Okay. It looks like they are going forward with the Alien Neil Blomkamp version.
Woo woo! You were right, Byron.
This was their plan.
I know. See, I fall for everything. I am so gullible.
That's conspiracy weird.
I guess we'll make. Okay, all right. I guess we'll make an Aliens.
Oh, we were
now.
we were thinking about it, but we aren't. I mean, I just put up these pictures on Instagram, and then everyone goes crazy, and then it's like, oh, I don't really know if I want to do it. Maybe, do you guys? What do you think? What do you think, guys? And then everyone wants it, and of course they're gonna do it. They were gonna do this the whole time.
I don't know. Should I mean, like, I guess I just spent 100 hours on all these concept sketches
Yeah.
on speculation.
It's moving forward. Alien 4? Is that what we're calling it?
Well,
Or
it's
is it
supposed to
five,
be. So
six?
the earlier reports were that it was going to be a bridge between Alien 2, which is Aliens,
Yeah.
and Alien 3. But now it sounds like it's actually going to be a bridge between Prometheus 2 and Alien, the original.
So Prometheus 2 is in production right now?
Yes.
Yes.
And it'll be out before the new Alien.
Yes.
Okay.
Prometheus 2 will come out, and then the new Aliens movie. And so all of those are prequels to the original Alien.
Interesting. That's a lot of prequels.
Well, I don't know if you saw Prometheus, but there's a hell of a lot that happens between the end of Prometheus and
Yeah.
the beginning of Aliens.
No,
So-
I did see that.
Alien.
I thought Wait, one more time. Where in the chronology does the Blomkamp's Alien...
You told me, so this came straight from you.
Oh, fuck.
You're
That's
my
what you're
source.
airing? Oh, my God.
I think
You know better than that.
I think it was Prometheus 2, Alien, the new one, and then the 3 that came after that. But
Gotcha.
you could be completely wrong.
Sam, because Sam and I had a discussion. I was like, "Oh, it's supposed to be between 2 and 3." You're like, "No, no, no."
Yeah, but
now
I was
it's
probably
gonna
just
be...
making that up.
It says
God,
right
I
here
hate
on Bloody
you.
Disgusting, it's a new alien to follow Ridley Scott's next Prometheus. So I'm not reading the article. That's just the headline. And I would imagine.
Do you think it's to follow the production or to follow in the chronology?
The plan was for the Alien prequel to take place in the same planet as Alien. This was changed to set up the Prometheus trilogy. Fuck, I don't know.
There's 2 new Alien movies coming out sometime soon.
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with this, but everyone's talking about it, so I'm sure
So listen to what they say.
Yeah.
So Sam's timeline that he gave us may or may not be accurate. We'll see what comes out.
If it's accurate, it's a strict coincidence.
If it turns out that we're the right ones, we might.
Do you have any idea? You told me that with such certainty. See, I believe you. I trust you, husband.
God, you should know better.
Trailer news.
Lots of South by Southwest trailers this week.
Thank goodness. I'm just hoping that the Stanley Film Festival gets a lot of bleed over from South by Southwest.
We talked a lot about
because it's
that.
clearly going to be a super cool festival. We're just excited about which of those movies we might get to see.
Yep. Like maybe Pod?
Oh my gosh, that looks good.
What do you think about
that
the
one?
trailer for Pod?
Really
Looks
interesting. I like that it could possibly be aliens. I'm digging that.
You think that's what they're going?
Well, I don't know. The tinfoil always leads me to think aliens.
Yeah, any sort of duct taping
But
of windows.
then, I mean, it really, from the preview, it's completely open-ended. It could go any direction.
But it leads me to believe maybe he's just crazy.
It could be, too.
Yeah, just a paranoid veteran calls and leaves a cryptic message for a sister
I think it was...
or a brother.
Yeah, or I think it was a friend.
Could have been a friend.
And then
For
the friend
someone.
goes to get the sister to go talk
That's
to her.
right.
So terrible.
Yeah, we're really good at keeping up with this. And when they show up, of course, it's a secluded winter lake cabin. Pretty central theme this year so far.
I dig it, though.
You don't know exactly what's going on, what's in the basement, but it looks fucking brutal, and I want to see it as soon as possible. Lauren Ashley Carter is the star.
Well, she was great in Jugface.
Jugface, and the fuck was that movie? You're killing me, Byron.
Wow, that's creepy. Now you've split into 2 people.
Yep. The Woman. Did you watch The Woman?
No.
Oh, she was in that? The Lucky McKee movie?
Yes. Yeah. She was one of the daughters. She's great. I love everything she does. I really look forward to this. I wrote a little blip on Frightday.com about this as well.
A person could go read that.
You
if they
could
wanted
potentially
to.
read that.
Subtly directing you.
Pretty subtle. Something a little bit more up your alley. We saw a teaser trailer, or is that what they're saying, for Crimson Peak?
Yeah, I think it was.
Didn't give much away.
I'm very excited. It's obviously a haunted house type of story. I also love Guillermo del Toro. I also love Jessica Chastain.
But it's a period piece.
And I love period pieces, so
And
it's
it
all up
looked
my
a little
alley.
steampunky, I thought.
Well, it's that period. Steampunk stole from that period, so you can't really say that looks steampunk.
No, shitty imaginary inventions made out of brass were not everything that existed in that era.
Maybe that's what the new American Horror Story season's going to be.
That'd be great.
Steampunk?
American Horror. Oh, no. I don't want to be anywhere
They're
near
gonna
that.
fly
I
around
don't
in
think
old
that's
timey
it.
airships and
That'd be fun.
Somebody-
I'd watch it, but
I think Crimson Peak looks fun. It's not my thing. It kind of has that Penny Dreadful feel, though, right?
yeah, I think it looks super cool.
I'll give anything Guillermo del Toro does a chance.
What else did we watch?
Nightlight trailer.
Oh, okay. And that's the found footage?
Found
one?
footage. I mean, it looks real Blair Witchy, real
It looks
done
like
before, but I'm a sucker for all of those. I think it could be really fun.
What do you think
I mean,
it is?
it's hard to tell whether it's, doing a repeat in a way that's tongue-in-cheek, like almost paying homage or homage, however you want to say it, whether you're pretentious or not,
I think I homaged.
Yeah, I would homage.
paying homage to the films that have come before in that same vein. But I mean, I always give those movies a chance.
I think it took itself real seriously. It looked like from the trailer.
I got that feeling too, but I'm willing to give it a chance.
It's like an amped up version of Blair Witch.
Yeah, I mean,
lot
more kids and-
Production, I think, too.
Teens.
Yeah, more production.
A lot of lights.
I just think
Yeah,
everyone
the
should...
lights turning on in the middle of the forest. It looks interesting. I mean, you see a lot of things in the first preview, and the directors are newbies. I mean, they've done a couple shorts, but for the most part, they're newbies.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they're, maybe they'll be a great new horror movie team for us to look forward to films from.
I just, at this point, if there's any footage that's still lost and has not yet been found, just leave it where it is.
Kelly would disagree, though. It's Kelly's year of found footage.
Yeah, I'm going to watch every found footage ever made.
Maybe we'll find it all this year. How do you feel about the trailer for David Cronenberg's Maps to the Stars? Debatably horror?
Yeah, I can't tell what it is exactly horror about it, but I think it looks like a fantastic movie.
It's another glance into the dark world of Hollywood. There may not be physical changes like in Starry Eyes.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it had the supernatural aspect of Starry Eyes.
But I trust David. I think he's going to do some scary shit. Like, even just psychologically scary. I know he's a master of body horror, but I think it looks good. It's got Julianne Moore. It's got John Cusack.
And with all the names attached to it, hopefully it will be somewhere we can see it in a theater.
I have a feeling it's going to be a major release. And I'm looking... Well, actually, no. I got that information already. It's VOD at the end of the month.
That's even better. That's my favorite theater.
The Holmes Theater. February 27th. So that's coming at the end of the month.
Woohoo!
I like it.
We should do a future episode on that.
We should.
Maybe.
We really should.
If it's horror.
If it turns out to be horror. Yeah.
But Kelly, I guess that's all. You can do your thing. We'll play the music here.
Kelly's cryptids and conspiracies.
Okay, so really quickly, because this kind of links to what the movie we watched tonight was, there was a church in Alabama that was supposed to be haunted that mysteriously burned down last week.
It wasn't white people that did it.
Who knows?
Like KKK.
Dressed
types.
like ghost people.
I was going to say,
Maybe
Byron,
that's
I'm
what it
really
is.
not sure where that comment's going, but
No. Alabama church.
Typically when
getting burned
churches in
down? I'm
Alabama
just
burn, it's
saying.
white people that burn them.
Yeah,
so
because they're the worst.
There have been stories for years and years about this church and the cemetery attached to it being haunted. The building wasn't in use at the time. There was no power connected to it. So either there's something super mysterious where it was.
It wasn't
arson.
an electrical fire. Is that
No,
what
it
you're
was
saying?
not an electrical fire. There are all these legends surrounding it, though. There's supposed to be a Gaelic banshee that can be heard shrieking and sobbing from inside the church in Alabama. Yes, Byron.
Okay.
As
No,
you
that's
roll your eyes.
All right.
Just
Yes,
gonna say.
I can see your faces.
Yeah.
And hearing the wailing meant somebody inside the church was soon going to die, and apparently this came to fruition a few times.
Well, that's weird because a lot of old people go to church.
So, and then there were hellhounds with glowing eyes that roamed around in the cemetery.
AKA cats at night. I'm sorry.
Or
I'm on a
dogs.
I'm on a roll.
Dogs
Or
are a
old
lot
people.
bigger. Dogs are a lot bigger.
They could have
Yeah,
been
but their
old
eyes
people.
don't glow in the reflections. Maybe
Okay.
they're raccoons. I don't know.
It's old people. Hearing aid lights.
And apparently there's an outhouse on the property that if you go into, the door shuts and locks.
latrine monster.
The latrine monster. I
Yeah,
bet you're right,
that
actually.
makes sense.
That probably is the latrine monster. And then there are also supposed to be Confederate soldiers and a little boy and girl from the same era that haunt the property. So it's kind of
Okay.
interesting. I mean, who knows? But that was just kind of a fun story because
Yeah.
it connected to what we were talking about. Okay. So
No, you're not gonna say if you believe it or not.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say whether I believe it. It's just kind of a fun
What are your
blurb.
general opinions on ghosts?
On
For the
ghosts?
most part, like what's your percentage you think are true, and what do you?
What percentage of reports are true?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Probably half.
Half
So
are
how
true.
many ghosts would you say are real?
Sam's mocking me again. I love you, sweetie.
I
love you.
Oh,
I love you.
and your ghosts.
This feels weird. It doesn't feel right.
so creepy.
Oh, sweetie. You're so funny when you make fun of my ghosts.
So there's been a lot of stories of battlefield ghosts.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are a lot of theories. Some people think that it is literally ghosts coming back to haunt. Other people think that it's just almost like something more scientific that we just don't understand, that's like leftover
Events
almost
echoing.
like photograph, like leftover cycling video of something that's happened, and it's
Yeah.
just stuck there for some reason.
Like an echo.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is, but I know people who have seen ghosts that are not people who would ever make it up, because they're people who don't want anybody to know that they've seen them. So I believe very strongly that there's something. The other thing that I've heard some interesting theories about is that it could literally be something that is a chemical misfiring in your brain. It very well could be that too. But it's interesting when people report the same place being haunted and the same ghosts. So I would guess, if I had to say, that 50% of the reports of ghosts are legit, people not lying, and are a combination of some weird psychological issue or something actually being seen. Okay, so my big story for tonight, though, is actually kind of a really interesting series.
Do you want me to play like an alien taking off noise right now?
No.
Like a UFO?
No.
I'm going to do it anyway right now. Continue.
Okay. So a lot of people heard this week, John Podesta, who was a senior advisor to President Obama, he stepped down from his post on Friday, and he's actually been part of multiple presidential administrations. But he's very high up, supposed to be incredibly intelligent. And his tweet as he was leaving office, and I quote, "Finally, my biggest failure of 2014, once again not securing the disclosure of the UFO files. The truth is still out there." So
did he also end his tweet with hashtag X-Files 2016?
He did not.
Oh,
okay. And he wasn't joking. He really wasn't joking either. So the backstory is he was listing the things that were his successes and failures in 2014, which was his last year serving as a senior advisor to Obama. And this was the last one that he listed because he feels like it was his biggest failure last year. So it's pretty interesting. And it was done in the context of a very serious series of tweets. It wasn't like a joke. He's had a really, really long interest in UFOs. And actually his first White House involvement was as Clinton's chief of staff from 98 to 2001. And that's kind of when he became a champion for what's called the UFO disclosure movement. So disclosure is basically exactly what it sounds like, trying to get the government to disclose what they know about UFOs. So there's a guy named Stephen Bassett who has a group called Paradigm Research Group, and he has for years and years been at the forefront of this disclosure movement. And one of the interesting things that he uncovered was something called the Rockefeller Initiative. Okay, so Lawrence Rockefeller, who was at the time in 1995 the heir of the Rockefeller fortune, had this huge passion for UFOs and really did believe that there was something out there for the government to disclose. So he gathered scientists and researchers and put together this UFO briefing document that is literally called Unidentified Flying Objects Briefing Document, the Best Available Evidence. And he submitted it with a cover letter to the White House administration and actually interacted with both Bill and Hillary about this.
Billary, I call them.
Billary,
That's
right.
their celebrity couple name.
Right. So and this happened in 1995. It really hasn't been discussed. None of them have discussed it publicly, but you can actually look up the document. We'll post a link to it on our website.
Really?
To the actual summary.
Okay.
And it's like 144 pages long. I'm not going to lie. I haven't read the whole thing, but it is kind of like a cliff notes to what's considered to be the most viable UFO cases out there. So what happens next is apparently conspiracy theorists think that there was deliberate intervention to try and keep Clinton from being what's called the disclosure president. So whoever releases this information to the public is the disclosure president, right? And you know, there are a lot of people who think there's this exopolitical scheme going on driving, you know, New World Order, and that there's, you know, international debate about who's going to reveal this, which country is going to be the one that really lets out. Well, the truth of the matter is both Chile and France have actually done quite a bit of disclosure to their public citizens. So,
and they have experienced no revolution.
No, they haven't.
Except for France.
Well, I mean, you know, it's France, but
that makes me nervous, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, so the discussion ensues that this guy Podesta was part of the White House administration when this briefing document came to be.
Okay.
And he returned to the White House with Obama. And a lot of people believe that he is kind of this linchpin, I think was actually one of the words that I heard Stephen Bassett use in an interview, that's connecting these different administrations and really trying to safeguard this continued movement of getting this disclosure. One of the phrases that's thrown out there is there's a truth embargo, and they're trying to end the truth embargo on UFO information. If it happens, that's incredible. People have been talking about it happening for like 20 years now. So, I mean, it's one of those boy who cried wolf things, but it's very interesting. Yeah.
No, you're fine.
No.
I was gonna say something dumb.
So,
Yeah.
so this ties back to Stephen Bassett with his Paradigm Research Group actually has gathered hours and hours and hours of testimony, video testimony. And last year, he was announcing through his mailing list that they were going to be submitting these to all of the legislators in Congress. And that was supposed to go out on March 31st of last year. Well, a bunch of things happened. They got caught up. There were delays. They didn't end up sending those videos until November. However, Bill Clinton booked a spot on Jimmy Kimmel Live for April 2nd, 2 days after these videos were supposed to be sent out. And as I'm sure everybody knows, when somebody of that level, probably any person for the most part that goes on one of those shows, they have pre-approved questions. Yeah. They know exactly what, and people put in requests. Be sure you ask me about this. So Jimmy Kimmel asks President Clinton about UFOs. And President Clinton launches into this 5-minute discussion about his interest in UFOs and what would happen. And he talks about Area 51 a little bit. And he's obviously very political. Clinton's very, very smart. A lot of people believe that he was laying the groundwork. So when these videos came out of testimony showing that he definitely knew a lot about UFOs and was in a position where he was trying to disclose stuff, that he will have some foundation already laid about, well, yeah, I did believe it, my hands were tied, rather than it making him look like a complete jerk for holding this back from the public.
So are we going to see these videos soon?
So the disclosure videos, some of them are posted on YouTube.
Really?
But coming full circle, there was an interview in Paper Magazine with Tom DeLonge of Blink-182, who was in the news recently for having a pretty
public fallout
yeah, with his band. But I couldn't care less about that because the band's not that great anyway.
Hey.
Well, they're fine, but they're not great. What he's really great at is he's very enthusiastic and committed to UFO research. He talks about a bunch of things in this interview. It's actually unfortunate because it's just a bunch of blips about these crazy stories.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go in depth with any of them. And it really kind of, I feel like, was manipulated to make him come off like a complete loon. And that's the way a lot of people are taking it.
But if anyone actually stops and listens to him talk about it, like I heard a couple of clips of him talking with Larry King on Larry King's Hulu show. He's a smart guy.
Oh, he's very
knows
smart.
What he's talking about.
He's very smart. And one of the things he mentions in this article is that his phones were tapped at one point. And one of the reasons he believes his phones were tapped is because in his house, he was housing 30 plus hours of video testimony surrounding these UFOs. And he's referring to the same videos that Stephen Bassett is talking about that were released and sent to all the congressmen.
So how did he get the videos?
I mean, I know he does a lot of work with MUFON and with some of these organizations. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I know he's part of the disclosure movement. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he and Stephen Bassett are friends.
How do you become part of the disclosure movement?
I think you probably join the Paradigm Research Group with Stephen Bassett and get on his mailing list.
Okay, so it's not that hard.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it's something I'm continuing to look into. I actually really want to read that full 144-page document. I've just skimmed it. There's some really cool stuff in there. So down the road, I'm hoping to highlight some of those things, but keep your eyes peeled. I mean, it's this tweet by Podesta. So in other words, it's a lot deeper than just that tweet. As you can tell, there's a whole lot more behind that, but it's a real strong indicator that at least there's some forward movement with a government official that's that high up, acknowledging that there are UFO files that should be disclosed.
Do you think that Barack Obama is the right president to release that information with his current disapproval rating?
Yeah.
I don't think he's the one. I think they need to have a pawn, a sacrificial president that's going to do this.
Yeah. To be honest, I couldn't care less who does it. I think that at this point in time, they've been talking about it since the Kennedy administration. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've had a lot of opportunities. There's obviously a lot of political work that goes behind deciding when and if it's going to happen. And I'm sure that the president actually has very little control over whether it happens or not. So we'll see. I think Obama would be fine. I mean,
it wouldn't bother me.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have a Republican in the White House next.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe
Sam.
Jeb Bush is.
Yeah.
So, do you believe in Tom DeLonge?
I I am an open-minded guy.
Yeah.
I would be willing to look at any evidence that someone put forward.
But you're not willing to say right now.
No, I'm not going to come out right now and say, yes, Tom DeLonge is real.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. And that's pretty par for you.
Sam, you're so funny. You're so funny.
Stop it. God.
So I'm really sorry that was so long-winded, you guys, but I'm really excited about this.
I'm pretty excited too.
It's an interesting story, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and a lot of information about it, so I kind of sound like the crazy mad scientist
That's
now.
good.
I realize. I'm sorry about that, but
Well, if you're not
You sound like a scientist.
If you're not getting enough of this right now, our Frightday.com website has an entire chunk dedicated to cryptids and conspiracies. So
yes, and we will have a link to that full document up there, and we will also have a link to some of these disclosure testimony videos.
And I swear I'm not going to talk about the website this much next week.
Which website?
Frightday.com.
It's a great website.
I'm just really excited and proud of the work that we've done so
Yeah,
far.
you guys
You should be
kicked ass
proud.
on it.
This is going to be really cool.
This has been Kelly's Cryptids and Conspiracies.
Oh, great.
If there's anything that anybody's particularly interested in hearing about, please feel free to shoot me an email, kelly@frightday.com, or tweet, anything. We're open to...
Where would they tweet?
Oh, sorry, tweet
Twitter,
at
Byron.
Kelly Frightday. But we're open to investigating things that are listener directed. So please do let me know if there's something you'd like to hear about.
Are you open to talking about a movie,
I suppose so, especially if it's the Borderlands.
aka Final Prayer?
Yeah, I'm calling it the Borderlands.
Okay.
I like that name better.
Next, we talk about Final Prayer.
Sweet.
We hope you're enjoying your visit here this evening. Now, on with the show.
Final Prayer, aka The Borderlands, to Kelly.
It's not just to me. That's what it was known as. That was its original
It's
title.
to England.
But it was released as Final Prayer here.
It's a found footage horror film from 2013, directed by Elliot Goldner. Sam, the synopsis man.
Yeah, so Final Prayer is about a 3-man team of Vatican investigators that are dispatched to a church in a remote area of, we think, Scotland,
It could be.
to investigate a supposed miraculous happening at a rural church in the area. And as they continue their investigation, weird, disturbing things keep happening, and they find that maybe the truth is beyond what they could have imagined.
Excellent synopsis. Sam.
Nice. Great job, sweetheart. You're really good at that.
Sam, let's start with you. How do you feel about this movie?
I don't really feel.
What are your initial thoughts?
I thought it was better shot than a lot of found footage movies. Had a lot of different camera angles because they had a really legitimate excuse as far as the plot went to have a bunch of cameras everywhere. I don't know. The sound was terrible.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I disagree.
Kelly, why do you disagree?
I think the way they utilized noise and not being able to tell where it was coming from in the church, I thought was really effective. I thought the sound in it was spectacular.
For me, and Byron and I were complaining about this during the movie, the use of ambient room music rather than...
When it comes to a found footage movie, they were looking for a loophole to add score, and we got to figure out what that f***ing buzzing is. We'll be right back.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't your fault. It was your microphone's
I'm
fault.
sorry.
It's all right. The use of background radio noise as scoring in this movie, in one particular scene at least, it really stood out.
So distracting.
But music in a found footage movie shouldn't happen. Even I'll accept the ambient stuff here and there, but I had a big problem with that. I do agree, however, with Kelly, the sound design in the inside of the church stuff was really cool because they were trying to figure out where all the sound was and if it could possibly be faked. And I thought that was really interesting. It sounded really cool. The movie, however, there's a couple things I didn't really like. Yeah, the fact that they were Vatican investigators and they had all these cameras was a bit too convenient. You don't need to set an HD camera in the corner of every room.
Oh, no. I disagree, because the whole premise was that they had to come and either prove or disprove that it was a miracle. Because for the Vatican to call something a miracle, you have to go through these really specific guidelines, just like everything else with the Catholic Church. So it makes sense that it was that intense. And especially they set it up because Deacon, who's clearly been on a lot of other investigations.
He's been there, yeah.
He talks about how a lot of them have been disproven by using cameras like that. So I think they set up a good reasoning for why they have all those cameras out there.
Yeah, but when found footage movies do that, it just opens the world up, and I think it kind of spoils the whole found footage
I can see
part.
that.
Ever since movies like Paranormal Activity did that, they did static cameras in Paranormal Activity, which back then it made a lot of sense because it was one camera or two cameras sitting still and you couldn't see everything. It wasn't like in the top corner and it wasn't a wide camera. And I think that in Paranormal Activity added to the scary factor. You know?
Because there were black spots.
And you don't see everything. When you do see something, you see part of something. But in this movie, it's just wide. And you see everything. And that was kind of a problem. But the movie was scary. It was tense, and it had moments where, like, it wasn't a jump scare film. There was jump scares, but it built in a lot of scenes, and I think that they were effective.
And I thought it was very well acted.
Yeah, there were three main actors in this movie. There was Deacon, another Deacon.
Yeah,
from
Deacon's pretty common.
It's a common name,
apparently.
And Gray, who I thought was Gary. What would I
Greg,
think?
you thought it was Greg.
There we go.
But it was Gray. But that's okay.
And then the third man was Mark. Okay, so I paid a lot of attention in this film.
So Deacon, Gray, and Mark, and then there was also Father Krellick.
Okay.
And Father Calvino.
Mm-hmm. This was a pretty realistic depiction of found footage, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, the only break in it that I saw was that one early on in the movie, which seemed just like a weird one where it's supposed to be from one vantage point, but rather than rotating, it's not even worth explaining. But there was one break in it. Other than that, I thought it was pretty well done.
Did you ever see the show Peep Show?
No.
So it was a British show about these two guys. They're two flatmates, and the whole show takes place from their viewpoints. This movie had a lot of that because they had these little mounted head cameras the whole time. Another very convenient found footage aspect. Things have changed a lot since like Blair Witch.
Right.
The head camera thing, I don't know. They did a lot of that in As Above, So Below, which this movie has elements of that as well later on.
Right. And they also did it with Exists.
Oh, the GoPro.
Yeah. I don't think that that's really fair in a found footage film.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think that the whole concept of found footage has jumped so many shark tanks.
Okay,
at this
multiple
point.
tanks of sharks.
Oh, I love it. I just think it's so fun. I don't think I'll ever get tired of found footage.
Found footage in the beginning was they found one camera. In this movie, in order to be, quote, found, they'd have to collect like 25 cameras and all of this digital data.
Oh, actually, hold on. No.
Okay, you have something?
There were discussions about there being a digital relay back to, so none
like
of
a
it.
hard drive.
Right, that it wasn't being stored on any of those actual devices. In fact, towards the end, if you remember, he places a relay device.
I can't
Against the wall.
understand Scottish accents, all right?
Okay.
I missed all of the plot in this film.
Okay, that's an issue for you.
I can't get accents. I'm
Byron, we
sorry.
need to expose you to some culture.
Maybe a bit. Yeah, this movie did have some good comic relief, though. It lightened up at points because the two main characters, Deacon and Gray, are kind of like an odd couple pairing.
Very much like an Odd Couple pairing, yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah. Do you know what Odd Couple pairing is a reference to?
No.
Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, a movie from the 60s called The Odd Couple.
Oh, well, no, I knew that. I just thought,
I was impressed that you'd seen a movie from the 60s. I was like, damn, Byron.
Well, it's also a TV show, and it's also a reboot that's coming out soon.
I heard that. Who's going to be in it?
I do not care right now.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I second that apathy.
Woo! Sorry.
No, that's okay. But this movie, it would have been slow without that. And usually I don't care for that type of interaction, but these characters were developed. They weren't flat like a lot of the found footage movies. You grow to really respect and like Deacon. And Gray's a fun dude, you know? He does things a little bit differently.
He's the token atheist.
Does anyone have anything to say before we go into spoilers?
Let's spoil this motherfucker.
Okay. This is the point in the show where we spoil a movie. If you don't want this movie ruined, I highly recommend you watch Final Prayer, The Borderlands, whichever your country calls it, before you continue. I don't know if I said that right.
No, I thought that was
Did
good.
I say that sentence okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. You
Fun
got our
side
international
note,
fans covered.
It's Matthew Perry and Lieutenant Dangle.
Lieutenant Dangle? Oh, okay. Yeah, what's his name?
Thomas Lennon.
Thomas Lennon. Yeah, he's a writer for At Midnight.
Scriptwriter.
I really like him. I can't fucking stand anybody
Really
that was on
successful.
Friends, but
You don't like Friends?
I hate Friends.
I
You're a
hate
scary
Friends
person.
too.
It's one of the
the
few
TV
pins
show.
that hold Sam and I together is my hatred of Friends.
You were talking about the TV show. Sorry, no.
He's
Never
talking
mind.
about physical people. One of my favorite new things that I learned in this is that apparently spells and curses and satanic things can be recorded on cassette tapes, then broken and spread around a graveyard.
The actual physical tape reels themselves.
That's really interesting.
Well, actually, and I think they were even saying that you can spread them and record them. Like if you throw them around in the graveyard, it's supposed to absorb the sounds, then you can go
Really?
pick them back up.
Is
Yeah.
that what they were saying?
Well,
I
they were
would
saying that
not
the
wanna rewind
satanic
that
kids
stuff.
were doing that.
I thought that was really interesting. It was a cool little something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
So basically, turns out there is something going on inside this church,
There sure is.
and that it may have been
but it
Something
ain't a
more than
miracle.
communion.
It's not a miracle.
It-
This poor priest wanted them to come and prove that it was a miracle so that it would be declared a miracle by the Vatican, but the priest realizes too late.
Oh no.
Because he keeps asking, he keeps going into the church night after night saying, please, God, will you make this miracle happen again so that these people can see it and they'll believe me? And then he realizes it's not God.
No, it's not.
No.
Who was it?
Nay.
And he also can't fly.
It's...
He cannot fly. He dies. He jumps to a death.
Yeah, it's something much more malevolent.
So this church was built on a pagan site?
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah, so they
graveyard.
talk about, what was it, St. Gregory, who, when he came to convert the pagans in what is now England, he gave all these specific instructions about do not burn down or destroy the pagan churches, instead just destroy the idols in them and consider them sacred ground and do not mess with them. Well, clearly they didn't listen because they built a Catholic church on top of this ground and bad shit was happening. And then we find out that there
didn't
was...
they say they could do that? Just
No, it was supposed to be sacred ground. They weren't supposed to mess with it.
okay.
So that's where things started getting bad. And then it hints at it, but it never actually comes out and says that the town is like this kind of Wicker Man kind of town.
Yeah, everyone's in on it.
Right. And
Yep.
and that so there was this
Especially shitty kids.
shitty kids, horrible kids
They
that lit
burned
a
a
poor
goddamn
sheep on
kids.
fire. That was the worst. That was the worst part of the
Screaming
movie.
sheep. Remember how sheep scream like humans on YouTube?
So sad.
They scream like that when they're on fire too.
It's so sad.
Oh my God.
Okay, so but there was an orphanage that was close by, and they start looking through the old church records from the first priest that was there, like in the 1800s, and the priest goes through talking about, things that are going on at the church. He talks about the orphanage, and then things start to go wrong. And the last entry, he says, now I understand why they had the orphanage, something about God save them. I think I have a new master now. And that's the last entry. Very ominous.
Which is a bit heavy-handed.
It is. But I mean, they really didn't do anything else to very clearly reveal that it was a town of satanic worshipers, you know?
Yeah, and they had to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was
They
something.
had to have a past, but I feel like it wasn't fully fleshed out.
It wasn't. And
left a lot of
sometimes I like
questions.
that. But
Well, I didn't want them to tell me everything.
as I look back on it, though,
I wanted him to
I think they
spoon-feed
did
me.
make it pretty clear
Spoon food.
because they've got when they go into the bottom of the church. So this older priest comes in to try and get rid of the demon or something
An
even worse.
experienced Vatican exorcist.
They call him in.
Very experienced. They call him in. He tries to get rid of it. it obviously appears, all the lights go off, stuff gets thrown around, that priest disappears, the other priest appears to be dead, and then Deacon and Gray are left to follow, hopefully to find the senior priest who came in to do the exorcism, and they wander into the depths underneath this church, and the cave keeps getting narrower and narrower, and then they get to a point and they see these glyphs on the wall that show the sacrifice of little teeny tiny children, and they see
tiny cages,
and they have teeny tiny cages for babies. That was the most disturbing thing.
Throughout the whole movie, you hear babies crying,
And that was the cool sound stuff.
Yeah,
Really cool sound stuff. And then
this is kind of an as above, so below situation.
right, it starts getting narrower and narrower and narrower, and they're chasing and they're chasing.
One word. The Sarlacc.
The Sarlacc.
What's that?
From Star Wars.
I don't know what that is.
Jesus.
I don't know what it is.
Never mind. Keep going.
I apologize.
What's the Sarlacc?
It's the gigantic creature that lives in the hole in the desert on
this
Tatooine that they're going to feed
Who eats
Han and Luke to.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he's a
know
bitty
what it is. I know what it is.
The
Spoiler
almighty
alert.
Sarlacc.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, shit. Sorry about that. Now you don't need to watch Return of the Jedi.
That's
So
the best one.
they get further in and further in, and it gets narrower and narrower, and then they suddenly see Mark, the priest who they thought was dead,
He's been
upstairs,
possessed.
and we realize he's probably been possessed for quite a bit of this movie. And they keep hearing the older priest further down the tunnel and further down the tunnel, and suddenly they find themselves crawling through what appears to be about the size of like a sewage drainage pipe.
a human body size, probably.
Yeah. And then they turn on their lights and they realize that it's all wet and there's blood. And suddenly they realize they're actually in the inside of something. And no. I actually did some
stomach
research on
acid
it.
or something.
And the stomach acid starts falling on them. So like it's a literal belly of the beast. Like they have actually crawled in to this demon's
Belly.
bowels.
Yeah.
And the stomach acid literally starts melting their faces. And then
And
it
they
ends.
die. Yeah.
So the end was kind of weird. I mean, I like the idea of going way down into the depths. I'm not sure what I feel about the belly of the beast thing, but
Nothing in this movie was like the ending of it. And it caught me off guard. It happened very fast. Then it just went black.
yeah.
I don't know how.
I would have written a different ending.
But you seemed okay with it.
I was okay with it. It wasn't horrible, but I think it could have been a lot better. And I really liked the rest of it.
I wanted to see the townspeople down there. I wanted to see sacrifices coming full circle. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess this was technically a sacrifice.
That's exactly what it was meant to be. Yeah.
You got no resolution from that ending, really.
Of any kind.
The characters, I guess they did also talk about people disappearing before
Yes.
in thin air, which
Yes.
is probably what happened here.
It wasn't thin air. It was deep down in the bowels.
Yeah. I don't know. This movie wasn't weird, and then it got fucking weird.
It reminded me a lot of, well, a
Lovecraft.
lot actually of, no.
It's very Lovecraftian.
Yeah,
The guy, I think the guy wearing the Lovecraft shirt would probably be the authority
It's
on that.
Lovecraftian.
You have never read anything by Lovecraft.
I know, but everybody online says it's Lovecraftian.
No, it's dumpy. It reminded me a lot of The Canal, where you're just like, oh, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
they're like, what the fuck? At the end of it, they're crawling through filthy tunnels, and then just
You didn't like this better than The
insanity.
Canal?
No, I'm just saying I did.
Can
but
I point out to you guys that this has a higher rating on Rotten Tomatoes than Digging Up the Marrow?
That's fine.
This has a 79 on Rotten Teas.
That doesn't mean the ending's good.
I'm just comparing it
And that's
to the ending. It's the same thing. They end up
They
in a
ramp it
dirty
up.
tunnel, and then just what the ah!
This was a demon baby being birthed, a dead baby.
Yeah.
And I liked this movie,
I did too.
but the end left me wondering if I liked it, honestly.
Oh,
The ending didn't give me the resolution I wanted, and I know that if they would have went the Wicker Man townspeople revealing
It's a little
themselves
bit of a
route,
cliche,
it would have
but-
been. But I don't know. They could have done something. Kill List does something.
I was
unique,
just that's exactly where I was going next. Was Kill List.
and that's a very unique twist on that. Same
yeah,
kind
but
of
that
feel.
was a bit over the tippity top.
Was it though?
Yeah.
This is over the top. Kill List was not over the
Kill
top.
and
Hey,
s-
spoiler.
well, we're in dead
We don't get
giveaways.
to spoil all the
No,
movies.
you can't do that with Kill
So we
List.
Okay.
take Return of the
Okay, I'm
Jedi,
sorry.
Kill List.
Come on,
I'm
man.
sorry.
Also,
Okay, I'm sorry.
incidentally,
The end of Kill
Final
List
prayer.
is much more melodramatic than this.
You know, I think it fit the story more than this did.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it was fine. Do we have anything else to say about this movie?
No, I want to give it my rating.
Let me
We
dig.
know you do, but
I just want to say that this would be a rad job. I wrote that down.
Oh,
No, it'd be
the
a
Vatican
terrible job.
exorcist?
Yeah,
Oh, it'd be so sweet.
Not an exorcist, just the guy that is in charge of like setting up cameras.
Oh, the AV guy.
Yeah, that's fucking
The
awesome.
guy that goes to try and disprove miracles.
Yeah, you have to make so much money.
I mean, it's the fucking Catholic
Do you
Church.
realize the Vatican has such huge legal bills? I don't think they can afford anything.
Yeah, they got money.
And admittedly, last thing, I did fall asleep during this movie twice, which may have messed with my timeline.
It really
but
didn't.
It felt like this was longer than it was. And I looked, it was 87 minutes.
I really think that was because of your sleeping thing, because I'm normally the first person to be like, oh my God, this is long. And I didn't feel that way at all.
I felt like
okay.
it was pretty long.
When the priest committed suicide, I thought that was the beginning of the third act of this movie. There was a lot more that happened after that.
It did take me a while because I'm slow sometimes. After the movie was over and we digested. Oh, it's a little pun there. Digested what had
Nice,
happened.
I like that,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, all the noises upstairs in the church were because there was a beast living in the ground underneath it that was farting.
Oh, holy cow. There's a literal beast under that.
It really is supposed to be a literal beast.
Honestly, it didn't look very intestine-y in there. It looked.
By the end it did.
It looked vaguely.
Like literally you could see like the crunching of it. Believe me, I've seen a lot of pictures from my colonoscopies. It looks very much like the inside of an intestine.
All right. I'll trust that.
Okay.
Kelly,
Kelly has some
let's-
intestinal issues.
let's start.
And-
You're ruining the show.
I love you, Sam.
Sam,
Yes.
what would you rate this movie?
I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Okay.
I had fun. There was a lot to recommend it. It just kind of ultimately fell a little flat.
Kelly, how about yourself?
7.1.
7.1?
Liked it. I didn't, and the only reason I
That's a
didn't give it
Metascore of
something higher,
71.
the only reason I didn't give it something higher
Because it wasn't good.
is because the ending wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. I didn't think it was terrible, but I think it could have been a lot better, and that would have made it a really good movie in my book. So as it stands, it was a good one.
I give it a 5.2. I thought the ending of this movie was rapid, and I didn't think it was right. They didn't give me enough. That's all.
Yeah.
The acting, I really have to, again, point out how good the acting was. And I think that it hit well above its weight.
And for a first-time filmmaker, this guy, he's done shorts, but this was his first. Yeah, he did a video documentary and then a short.
And honestly, I think it shows promise. I would like to see something else from him that's not found footage.
Yeah, we're getting lucky with these first-time directors. This is a cool movie. And you can check it out on VOD and on Amazon, I believe.
Yep.
Amazon
Yep.
Prime.
I think we all recommend it. Maybe some of us more than others, but this has been the Borderlands, aka Final Prayer.
Woo woo.
It has been.
So I vote that next week we watch either Digging Up the Marrow or The Voices, depending on whether we're in the mood for a comedy or a real scare.
Ooh. We have been watching a lot of comedies, and I've been really excited for Digging Up the Marrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards that, but
I am too, but you never know.
I do hate laughing.
Yeah. But you have such a nice laugh.
either way, we're going to be talking about those movies on Frightday.com, your source for most things horror, right? Not everything
And
horror.
some
Everything
nonsense.
horror.
Okay.
No, everything horror.
Fine, everything frightening. That was our new tagline, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. No questions or comments this week.
So I know we switched websites over, so I'm guessing that's why. But you guys, please do send questions. We really like hearing from you. You guys are all great.
That seemed genuine.
Yeah, we love making up answers.
No, I think they are great. I
can-
really appreciate
No,
them.
I do too. I was just
Absolutely.
saying you were a bit overboard with it.
You know?
You can go to contact@frightday.com and say anything to us.
Please.
That'd be fun.
Just
be
send
great.
swears
Pictures to Byron.
No pictures. That was a joke. It's
of dicks.
Hey, it's been cut out already. God damn you guys.
This is all live. What are you talking
Yeah, I
about,
know.
cuts?
Oh no. Kelly, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Kelly Frightday.
You got it. Yeah.
Or you can email me, kelly@frightday.com.
Fantastic. Sam, how about you?
I am Sam at Sam Frightday
You
on
got it.
Twitter or Sam at frightday.com, I'm told.
You're told this. Do you even know your password to your email?
I assume it's password.
Oh my God, I'll send it to you at some point. And my name is Byron McKoy. You can tweet at me at Byron McKoy. And I guess I'm Byron at Frightday.com if you want to say anything other than on Twitter to me in longer form.
Yeah, 140 characters really limits me.
It's pretty limiting.
I'm a bit more verbose than that typically.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening again. It means the world to us. It's been a cool week launching Fright Day, and I'm excited. We watched a decent movie this week.
Yeah.
Go us.
And
go you, listener.
And until next Fright Day, I'm Byron.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Sam.
Stay scared. Hi, Byron McKoy here from the podcast you just listened to. Thanks again so much for listening. It means a lot to us. Sorry this doesn't sound very good, but I didn't have time to set up microphones. I was just editing the podcast, and in the middle of Kelly talking about ghosts and the percentage of ghost encounters that she thought were accurate or real or had something to them, there was something I heard in the audio, so I turned it up. And I'll just play it for you real quick right here.
50% of the reports of ghosts are legit, people not lying.
Did you hear that?
Ghosts are legit, people not lying.
That I'm not exactly sure if this is true, but to me it sounds a bit like someone saying no, which in the biz is called an EVP, which is an electronic voice phenomenon, which is supposed to be ghosts communicating through electronic audio recordings. So I don't know. I'll play it a couple more times. Let me know what you think. Tweet at Frightday, and specifically probably at Kelly Frightday, because she's pretty freaked out about this. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next week.
50% of the reports of ghosts are legit, people not lying. 50% of the reports of ghosts are legit, people not lying.
50% of the reports of ghosts are legit, people not lying.